everybody, back again, and in today's video we're making a dual quench tank for swords and knives. So without further ado, let's go ahead and show you guys what we've got set up. So we've got two essentially tubes. They have a 2.5 inch opening, 2 3/4 wide roughly. But basically I'm going to weld them to a base plate, which is going to seal the bases, and we're going to make sure they're watertight before we move forward from there. After we've got it welded to the base, we're going to make a cross member that makes kind of like a plus sign on the floor here so it can't tip over once it's full of fluid. And then we're going to figure out a way to make some artistic attachment between these two just for looks that can also function as a rack. My rungs are not perfectly even, as you can see. This used to be a fence post, so it's got these loops on it and they're not even. So what I'm thinking of doing is taking some rebar and maybe forging some little hooks that can go in between, artistic design wise. There's 3 on this side, 2 on this side. But yeah, I'll be back to you guys once these are all welded up. So here we are. I've welded my pipes together. My pipe welds are good. There's no water leaky through. So as you can see, nice and dry, no leaky, no leaky. Good. Now, steel plate. Steel plate's gonna get welded here, and then we're gonna cut off a piece of that stick thing for either side and do the metal hot glue right here on either side to stabilize this quench tank contraption. Again, we've got, let me back up so you guys can see, we've got a tall one for swords, and then we got a small one for short swords, knives, stuff like that. It's coming along well. Get back to you once that's welded in place. So we've now got the whole deal welded together. This is going to be the quench tank for swords and knives in the future. As you can see, we welded that plate on. We tacked some rebar underneath there, so that way it stabilizes it. It's not going anywhere. I mean, even if I knock this tube around, it might dance a little bit, but it's not going to do anything or go anywhere. And then once I figure out a way to tie these together and make it look cool, probably in another video, because this is going to be a pretty short one. But yeah, once we figure all that out, we can go ahead and move on from there. Now, what we're going to do is I'm going to try and start thinking about ways to fabricate caps for these, because yeah, I need caps for this so I keep stuff out of my oil. So I'll get back to you guys once I have an idea. So here we are the next day after I've painted this and allowed the paint to dry. I've also put silicone around the welds. They weren't leaking anything. I just wanted to give them that extra layer of sealing, just in case down the road they crack or anything like that. I don't end up with oil everywhere. The caps I actually made from half-gallon milk jugs. I just cut them out in sections and then used heat from a heat gun to fit them tight, so that way I have caps to keep my oil clean. In the sword tank, we've got the oil about 5 inches below, 6 inches below the top, and on the knife tank we have it about 3 or 4 inches below the top. So it should give me enough space to account for the thickness of any blade that I want to put inside these quench tanks. And here is our final layout. So I realized that that base plate that I made, it fits my old tank almost perfectly. This tank has a 4-inch opening for the mouth, whereas these are almost 3-inch. So if I need something wider to quench that's shorter, like my hammers and things like that, I can still use this oil tank for those, and I can use these for swords and knives. This will make my oil last longer because it's going to be, you know, separated out amongst my projects. And now I have a very long tank that is slender, a very short tank that's slender, and a short tank that is very broad. So this allows me to heat treat a large variety of things properly in all 3 of these tanks. I also have my water tank right there, just in case if it's a water quench, I can use that. But yeah, this is the completed construction. And since I realized I can do this, what I'm thinking of doing is using that loop and that loop to create some type of latch lock system to hold that tank on, where I can still remove it if I want to, just for transportation and rearranging and things like that to make it easy. But also prevent this from being able to be knocked over without having to weld it to the base. But that does it for today's video. If you guys liked what you've seen, do me a favor, do that thing right there, and until next time, God bless, stay sharp out there. If you're looking for a custom knife, sword, polearm, or whatever, check out the Etsy store. Link will be at the end of the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.